when statisticians have trouble sleeping, what do? It appears some count Elvis impersonators, and they found the number is growing at an astounding rate. When Elvis Presley died in 1977, there were 48 Elvis impersonators. Today there are more than 7,300. Projected proportionately into the future, by the year 2012, 1 person in 4 on Earth will be an Elvis impersonator. In local news, today at a luncheon held in his honor, Mayor Hall sent a silent plea to the public when he said that the burden of civic responsibility should not rest wholly on city government, that citizens and government should work together in times of crisis. The mayor was alluding to the series of violent storms that 1 month ago ripped through the downtown area, leaving 15 dead and causing more than $1 million worth of damage. Before we return to Mr. Goodlife, here is the WLPW Weather Team forecast for this evening. We can expect partly cloudy skies with temperatures dipping down into the 30s overnight. Looking ahead to the weekend, the forecast is great. Partly sunny skies with highs in the low 60s. Currently, the downtown temperature is 43 degrees. And this is Terry Travers for the WLPW News Team. Now, back to Mr. Goodlife.
This is the WLPW Talk Network. All talk, all the time.
Welcome back. We have still 2 more letters to go and just barely enough time, so we need to keep moving along. But before we do, I would like to say thank you to each and every one of you. I am constantly reminded by your heartfelt letters that it is you, and I do mean you, who make this show possible. So God bless each and every one of you. Our first letter comes from Miss Optimistic. She writes, Dear Mr. Goodlife, I am a first-time writer, but a long-time listener, and I want you to know that you have helped me through some bad times, which I am happy to say are behind me now. I've started a new relationship with a man who I'm very fond of, but I need your opinion. Let me start from the beginning. Now, there's always a good place to start, folks. She continues, This man, I'll call him Roger. We met through unusual circumstances. You see, Roger ran over my dog, Sweetie. It's terrible. She continues, I know I was upset, but what I remember most is that Roger was as upset as I was. And it was strange because at that moment, I just knew that he was the one. I felt it was destiny. He could have just driven off. But instead he knocked on doors till he found me. On our first date, we went to dinner and a movie. He chose the restaurant, I chose the movie. Well, at dinner, the waiter got our order wrong, which I sensed was a bad omen. When our meals finally arrived, they were cold. So we sent them back to be recooked, all of which was cutting it close for the movie. Well, we wolfed down our food and rushed to the car. Roger has a blue BMW. But before we got in, Roger noticed that one of his tires was flat. He told me not to worry. He could change it in a flash. But, and here's where it really gets strange, before Roger gets to the trunk, it begins to rain, of course. Then just before he opens the trunk to get the jack, we hear a loud bang. Roger opened the trunk to find that his tire, his spare tire, was going flat. His spare tire decided to blow at that moment. Now tell me, Mr. Goodlife, have you ever heard of anything so crazy? Well, no, not as far as spare tires go. She continues. Well, we missed the movie, of course. Roger ended up getting a cold, and I ruined a favorite pair of shoes. It was as stupid a day as I've ever spent. We haven't talked since. I want to call, but I'm waiting to hear what you have to say. Now, I am not a superstitious woman, but it seems that misfortunes follow us around. My dog, the dinner, the movie, the flat tire. Tell me, Mr. Goodlife, am I just overreacting? Signed, Still Optimistic. Oh my, well, Miss Optimistic. Misfortunes are often good omens, just having a bad day. Take, for instance, your dear departed dog, a terrible misfortune, a bad omen. But if it hadn't happened, you might not have ever met Roger. In life, when one door closes, another one opens. If Roger hadn't had the flat tire when he did, but instead later, after it started raining, there might have been a terrible accident. I mean, I don't even want to think about that, but hang in there, Miss Optimistic. It's too early to tell whether you and Roger will be riding away someday in his blue BMW, which is a very expensive automobile, I believe, riding down the highway of life together with tin cans clattering. Oh my, I am ahead of myself, aren't I? Well, hang in there, and it could happen. So pick up that phone and let me know how it turns out.
This is the WLPW Talk Network. All talk, all the time.
He looks tired. I'm sure he is. After all this time, maybe Mr. G's beginning to question all of this. Well, how do I put it? Horse shit.
Our last letter begins, Dear Mr. Goodlife, I am a 32-year-old man who is writing to you for the first time. I live alone, and whether you know it or not, you have always been there for me. There's something I need to get off my chest. If I told just anyone, they would think I was crazy. You see, I've lost my job, and I haven't been sleeping well ever since it happened. That night, after the terrible storms had left, and the city was asleep,